Peng looks up from her experiments. Things must be going well because she's even smiling a little. This year's project for the Vertimnalia Science Fair is going perfectly, she says. Even I'm a little impressed. Yeah, we need some time off. We are super exhausted. 20, 21, 22, Nem counts, bouncing a sports ball on her knee. 24, 25, 26. Oh, hey, Selene. She tucks the sports ball under her elbow and smiles at you. What's up? And, you know, we could always make ourselves into a girl, because the game does allow that. I'm sticking with being male, but that is an option. Pal's digging up something in the garden, creating a neat little stack of vegetables in his wheelbarrow. Hey, Selene, he says, taking off his gloves to card his hand through his hair. How's it hanging? Dis is hanging out here by Explorations. Still complaining about his sister. Ooh, we found a log. Your dad was sniffling and sneezing pretty bad this morning. He collapsed around this time last year, so you've been feeling anxious about his health, especially now that the pollen is back. He's working hard in the fields, respirator hanging from his neck as he grunts and shovels dirt into a wheelbarrow. He sees you coming and stands up straight, coughing a little as he stretches his back. Hey kiddo, what brings you out here? Dad, you have to wear your respirator. Your dad makes blah 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 motions with his hand. I do. Don't look at me like that. I'm just getting some fresh air. It's hard to breathe with that thing on. I'm racing to get these pixie beans in the ground, he continues. We're all set to have a great harvest in time for Vertimnalia. He leans on his shovel, tucking one foot behind the other and rocking back and forth. Truth is, I've been working like a dog. I'd love to get out here for a while. Hey, what do you say you and I go for a little walk, he says, brightening. I know you don't get outside the walls much either, but we could do a little nature walk. I study all the plants the foragers bring back, but I've never really seen them in the wild. You want to go outside? Sure, your dad says. People want to try new things, right? Your mom doesn't see the draw, he continues, flipping his shovel up onto his shoulders and picking his way carefully out of the turned fields. She likes what she can control, you know? But there's a whole planet out there, and I want to go explore. He stops and doubles over, suddenly racked with a coughing fit that makes him unable to speak. He tries a few times to catch his breath, but each time, he just starts coughing harder. The pink pollen in the air swirls and eddies around you both. Maybe you should stay indoors. Oh, your dad wheezes. You're just like Instance, that old stick in the mud. I remember when we were younger, she was always walking around with her nose in everyone's business. She always thinks she knows what's best for people. Despite his brave words, he has to hold on to you for balance as he catches his breath. I mean, she is a doctor, so she does kind of know what's best for people. Okay, maybe now's not the best time, he gasps, finally putting his respirator back on. But you and me, we have a date with the outside world, kiddo. I'm taking a rain check. Whew, he says, his eyes red-rimmed and streaming from irritation. I can't wait until Instance figures out a treatment for this shimmer thing. She says maybe next year, maybe the one after that. I'm going to be first in line, you bet. Your mom blinks as if she hasn't seen you in a while. Wow, you're getting big, she mutters, shaking her head in disbelief. And Mars. Selene, what do you think about this? Mars walks toward you haughtily, stops, poses with her hand on her hip, then turns and walks away. I call it my cool walk, Mars says, looking over her shoulder. I also have a bored walk and a flirty walk. It's important to switch it up once in a while. Huh. He wants to go outside so he can protect you, I bet. Maybe. He's never seemed that interested in the outside world himself, so that could be. Geoponics, so we can relax in the park as an option that all it does is just relax us. Where are my skills? There we go. I think one of these actually gives a bonus for relaxing in the park, but I don't remember which one. We could relax on the walls, which would give us a +1 friendship with Dis. Was it animals? Yeah, upgrade pet cards by relaxing in the park. And then we could also relax in the living quarters. I'm going to relax in the park to try and upgrade my pet card. It's not a guarantee, unfortunately. You and Cal walk through the park, a special place set aside for growing ornamental plants from Earth. It was grown from a precious seed bank preserved for over 20 years aboard the stratosphere before your mother started planting them here on Vertumna. Almost nothing here is grown for food, though many of them are technically edible. It's so green here, Cal says, stopping to smell a bush of fist-sized red flowers with velvety petals. Wow, they smell so sweet. It's so peaceful. Cal breathes deep, a funny smile on his face. It really is. This is one of my favorite places in the whole colony. You can really feel the love in every plant. One pretty white flower in particular is flourishing here, the Astrantia, your mother's favorite. It seems to be growing faster than even native plants do, covering the paths and bluffs with tiny white stars. You practically have to push clumps of it aside in some places just to make sure you don't crush any. Good thing it's so beautiful. We gain 2 friendship with Cal. So yeah, the way the events go when you do a job, there's kind of a pool that are available based upon where you're at in the story and what you've done, etc. And so upgrading my pet cards goes into that pool now, but other events might take priority. So 2s are still pretty good. I wish I could get rid of some of the 0s that we still have kicking around. I'll keep both of those. I don't mind 2s. Mid Pollen. Checking out eye shadows again. Your dad brightens when he sees you. Why, if it isn't my favorite gooseberry, he wheezes. I'm glad you're not as messed up as your old man. This pollen is no joke. Still thinks I'm getting big. Cal. Picking vegetables. Anemone. Still bouncing a sports ball. Tang is wearing a face mask and a full face shield. Greetings, human, she says, raising her hand like the holovids of little gray aliens. It's hard to tell if she's being ironic. Chief Engineer Instance nano-printed personal protective equipment for all of the lab assistants, Tang says, gesturing to her full-body smock. If we contaminate the samples with pollen, we'll lose a year of work. Alright, and this must be out at expiration. Everyone is so dramatic right now, Dis mutters, kicking a rock with his hands shoved in his pockets. Who cares who said what to who or whatever? It's so dumb. And expeditions. Let's check out the plains, which we haven't gone to yet. So that'll raise perception, which we don't particularly need, although getting all the skills up would be good. It's not just about reaching perk points. Hey, Utopia. When you boarded the expedition's autobus this morning, you didn't know what to expect. It trundled you and the other surveyors a few clicks north to the Prosaic Plains, a high flat area with cooler weather than your colony. You could barely control your excitement as you watched the landscape change, and now you're here. You're finally old enough for a real survey mission away from the colony. You greet Chief Surveyor Utopia at the depot. This here's a plas cutter, she says, handing you one. It's a tool for cutting and heating things. You can use it to make fire, cauterize a wound, boil water, and it cuts some materials pretty alright. You can use it for self-defense too, but I don't suggest it. Are we going to be in danger? She makes a so-so motion with her hand. This is a quiet area, and what we're doing, we're not supposed to be in any danger. We're just going to be taking notes and pictures, keeping track of all the flora and fauna we see. Just don't touch anything, unless I ask you to take a sample. Everything is potentially dangerous. We don't know much about what's out there, which is why we need surveyors, even young'uns like you. The Prosaic Plains are a sparse region, like you can assume from the name. You can see from a long ways off. Utopia sees you squinting at the horizon. And what are you going to do if you see something coming for you? Avoid it, try to pet it, kill it. Avoid it. +1 perception. Good kid, Utopia approves, patting you on the back. We don't need any trouble. Dis joins you. He must have come on an earlier autobus. Ah, good, you're here, Utopia says, digging out another plas cutter for Dis. You two greenhorns are with me, for the foreseeable. Now, we don't gotta sniff each other's butts all the time out there, but I do expect y'all to be in yelling distance. Comms can get spotty out here. You and Dis share knowing glances. You both have been sneaking out to explore long before you were officially allowed to. Utopia also hands you a surveying drone and shows you how to launch it. It'll automatically perform local scans of wherever you go, though detailed scans still need to be done manually. When you return here to the depot, it'll upload its findings to the holonet. Your job is to cover ground, see what's out there, and so long as it isn't dangerous, record it. She slaps you on the back. Alright, team, don't get yourselves killed out there, okay? Alright, let's see what is around us. Nothing that direction. Big loop around a pond. It's a cloudy day. You hear the crash of thunder from somewhere nearby, loud. Sounds like it's getting closer. Suddenly, a massive, impossibly tall something punctures the low clouds and slams into the ground ahead of you. It's as tall as a skyscraper and a meter wide, covered with chitinous bone like an insect. You think it might be a leg? Another crashes down, then another. The creature's body must be up in the clouds, so high you can't see anything but the legs. The first leg lifts again and moves toward you. You're in shock. Your body simultaneously screams at you to stand still and run. Stand still or run, or stay calm and analyze its movements if our perception was 50 or greater, which it's not. So, do we stand still or do we run? Fight or flight? Well, not fight, but... Which do you think is less likely to get us killed? Yeah, flight or freeze. Stand still is the vote from Jorenda. Alright. This goes badly, it's Jorenda's fault. It's so big it can't see you. Yeah. We're just an insect down here, basically. Stand still. You freeze up in terror, closing your eyes. Do not close your eyes, man. And standing perfectly still. Maybe it will just pass you by. You should still be looking just in case you can jump out of the way at the last second if you guessed wrong. You can sense a shadow descending from above you. Something suddenly hits you from the left, and you're flung sideways off your feet. Again, don't close your eyes. If it was about to hit you from the left, you could have jumped to soften the blow. A moment later, one of the massive legs slams down right where you'd been. Another second, you'd been flat as the grass underneath it. You look at what hit you, but it, or they, is already gone, having saved your life. Oh! The creature didn't hit us. We were shoved aside by the mysterious stranger that we've occasionally seen. Some strange, tall, dark figure. So, mysterious stranger pushed us out of the way of the leg, rather than getting stomped on. And we've got Dis over here. Hey, Selene. Dis greets you cautiously as you pass on the narrow path. Hey, do you want to, want me to show you something? Dis almost never makes overtures of friendship. Whatever it is, it must be pretty cool. Yes, you always find the coolest stuff. Nod quietly and follow him, or no, maybe later. Yeah, you always find the coolest stuff. You follow him for nearly half an hour. A couple of times he stops to listen for something, then continues onward, tromping through the fields of broad-topped mush trees and swaying antler ferns. After a while, you start to wonder if he's just lost. You're about to say something about it when he holds his hand up for silence and directs you to crawl under a huge mushroom. On the other side, you have a view down to one of the perfectly round ponds. Taking up most of it is an enormous xeno, its legs deep underwater. It's a pollen eel, Dis tells you. They live in the swamps. You don't usually see them here. This one seems totally at home. It dips its long neck and even longer mouth into the pond, sucking up water from the bottom and spewing it out of a spout at the back of its head. The spray of beautiful turquoise water sparkles in the sun. Tiny, colorful bird-like creatures dart around it, catching the tiny fish that come spraying out. Sit and watch quietly. What's it doing? Or we should kill it while it's distracted. No. Sit and watch quietly. You enjoy the pretty scene together. Plus 2 friendship with this. We've got some more medicinal herb roots here. And the path can go 2 directions. Snow is driving down, and visibility is poor. You can barely see your hand in front of your face. Try to find our way. Perception challenge, goal of 47. Oh, a bunch of these like really low cards. And unfortunately, straights don't go backwards, so I can't do 3, 2, 1. It would have to be 1, 2, 3. Someone gets a +1 if it's in the first or last pane. That does count on these smaller rounds. We'll just do that, so we've got all the same color. 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5? Sure. We could still do a 4, 5 thing. Do that for the color, I guess? Yeah. Is that better, or that is better? Okay. Cool. Then we'll go that route. Max score, always good. +2 perception. Yeah, so we're getting the perception from meeting the goal. +2 perception, +2 from super goal and Bricky here. Okay. You keep putting one foot in front of the other, relying on wayfaring and a fair bit of luck to make your way through. But you see something inexplicable. What the heck is that? You squint into the driving snow, but all you see is white on white on white, and the slightest hint of movement. It doesn't even look corporeal, almost like a cloud, like the snow is coming from it. It's impossible to get a closer look. You pull your collar tighter against the storm and move on. Alright, so there's some value in skipping some of the events as we can to just try and make it to the end, because there's usually some sort of boss event at the end of an exploration. So I'm tempted to skip that one that we had way back there and just keep moving forward. You're crossing a clearing when you hear a terrible cracking, pounding sound. A massive creature bursts through the trees. A boulder with arms, a bush growing out of its back. A bush bub. Utopia's mentioned these before. Part animal, part vegetable, part mineral. These usually gentle giants camouflage themselves as part of the forest. Bravely stand our ground or run like hell. We'll bravely stand our ground. Because that's the challenge. And apparently we like just standing still in the sign of danger. So this is going to drop down to a 3 when we've got all these cards played. I would like to do 5, 4, but this one's going to give a -2 to neighboring yellow cards. 2, 3, 4? Maybe? Seems reasonable. Huh. 5, 5, 4, 3? No, that's a 2 now. We'll go there so we get the color pairing bonus. Next round, we gotta get 15 points. That's gonna end up being a 2, I suppose. Oh. 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. Sure. Max score? The creature pounds past you, its powerful stone-like gorilla arms smashing the ground. It doesn't even seem to see you, and goes around you without even looking at you. You look around, but there's no sign of whatever motivated the bushbub to run so fast. At least, that's something to be grateful about. Alright. Oh, there's a crystal here. I really do need to give out more gifts. I think you can give gifts to each person once a season. The water in this pond is slightly greener color than you're used to seeing. It smells sweet, but kind of acidic too. That's odd. Drink some with bravery 10. Identify it with animals 30, or ignore it. We'll identify it before we just randomly drink a strange pond. You collect a sample to analyze, then hide yourself under some large mushrooms to watch the local fauna come out and go. The smaller creatures sniff the water but leave without drinking. Then a massive balneal photosynth lumbers over, lifts its leg and... oh. The pond must be where the balneal photosynths mark their territory. You check your analysis and confirm to confirm. Yes, it's literally brimming with balneal piss. Good thing you didn't drink it. Ew. +2 biology, +1 animals. Good thing we did not just drink from the random pond. Alright, left or right? We'll go right. At the edge of the circular pond, something sparkling catches your eyes. Well, everything around here sparkles, but this really catches your eye. The water in the little lake is deep and milky, though, and you can't see the bottom. It's completely still, almost too still, and so perfectly circular. You remember you've been warned about getting too close to these ponds. Bravely approach the water after we've been told to avoid them. Wait and observe the water or move on. It's a challenge. We gotta do the challenges. What could possibly go wrong? Probably should have avoided it and tried the other path. That would have been better for our stress. Rather than doing a challenge we may not have needed to. 2, 2, 2. Oh, this card becomes a 2. So we'll toss in one of our zeros to turn it into a 2. Next round. 2, 2, 2, 2. Lots of 2s. Alright, so that's going to turn into a 2. So what do I want to do after that? I don't know. Seems fine. Nah, could have done slightly better. Could have gotten to a 30. Oh well. You aren't scared of some pond, or whatever might live in it. You march up to the edge, keeping your eyes on the shiny prize, and paw around in the snow, looking for that shiny whatever it is. Looks like it's a pretty crystal, just sitting on the ground. Good find. Alright, we find another medicinal herb. Yeah, our stress is up at 90, so we've got one more event in us, unless we're lucky to find one of the ones that lowers our stress. You stop and watch a herd of shaggy, purple-furred animals slowly meander down a slope. You've never seen them before. Well, then let's study them. Card becomes 2. That is challenging to work with, particularly when it's near the end. We'll have a bunch of 2s. Card becomes 2 again. Okay. We'll go there. The wild will give us a matching set. Yeah. Okay, now we're not doing an all 2s round. I don't know. Match up colors, I guess. My guess is that's higher. This is higher. Nifty. Oh yeah, because it's still a pair. Cool. Perception and kudos. The creature's fur is like grass, So they must be a kind of photosynths, an animal that gets part of their energy from the sun. They couldn't be arborescent photosynths, bushbubs, because they've got branches growing out of their heads and backs. You check your survey journal, it says bushbubs are common here, but they're smaller, solitary creatures, so nope. And they're too small to be balneal photosynths who don't usually leave the water. You found a new species. Maybe. That would be cool. You decide to name them, just in case. You look at them through your holoculars at maximum zoom. You can kind of make out they have super long jaws, like a huge underbite. You name them sunbaskers, underbiters, hurting sunbiters, or something else. Alright, Jorenda, what do you think we should name them? If you think something else. I was going to go with underbiters because that seems to be their main descriptor. But if it's something else, then we can type in whatever we want. Yep. So you get to name a species. I've turned it over to you, Jorenda. The responsibility. No. They're apparently similar to the bushbubs we've seen, which are those, that big boulder-looking thing with the bush growing on their back, so probably look similar to that. They just have I think it said also some branches sticking out of them, and a huge underbite, and hang out in the sun. Doesn't particularly matter. But we may run into these again, I don't remember. Sunbiter bushbub? Not bug, bushbub. There we go. It has been named by Jorenda. Naming things is hard, so Sunbiter bushbub will have to do. You log your discovery. 5 kudos and some animals. You're too worn out and tired to continue. You have to go home now. Alright. You're back. So we gained our 3 perception and 1 animals. You're getting older. It's that magical time in your life, full of discoveries and possibilities, when children become adults, and their bodies change in weird, wonderful, and often embarrassing ways. When you were younger, Congruence gave your class a frank presentation about preparing for the changes your bodies would experience in the next few years. Which part of the presentation was relevant to you? Sure. We're playing a male, so voice changing and getting erections. None of it, I'm like a doll down there. Because I definitely want this game to go deep into puberty topics. You and your friends giggled your way through Congruence's presentation and left with a new appreciation for the wonders of the human body. Puberty had felt like something that would happen so far in the future that it didn't apply to you. You put it out of your mind, even as you noticed Cal's voice beginning to drop or Mars starting to dress differently. Until one morning you wake up and something feels different. You just know something's off as soon as you open your eyes. Things are squelchier than you expected them to be down there. You were having an exciting dream and then something happened, but you can already barely remember it. You just want to close your eyes again. You remember Congruence's sexual education classes, and you're really not ready for the real-world practical applications. After a few minutes, you sigh and muster up the courage to look under your blankets. Yeah, that's a thing. We'll deal with the mess. You wait for your parents to leave for work, calling out to you that you're going to miss breakfast if you lie around in bed. When you're sure they're gone, you carefully strip the sheets on your bed and stuff them into the recycler. You put in a requisition for new sheets from the depot and continue on with your day. That night, you find your dad waiting for you. He's pulled your privacy curtain back to show your striped bed and looks up with a knowing smile when you enter holding new sheets. He says, putting on an exaggerated detective impression. Now, I can only think of one reason why a teenager suddenly cares about doing his own laundry. He points up and exclaims, "By Jove, I think I've got it. What's up, Selene? Got something to share with your old man?" You can feel your face getting red as you ignore him and make your bed, but he doesn't stop it. But it doesn't stop him. "Ah, kiddo, it's okay to feel a little wet behind the ears." You retreat into your bunk and slam the privacy curtain closed, and you can hear him making... so you can't hear him making any more jokes. Ah, he's so embarrassing. What is happening? You feel on edge today, like everything that happens feels so unfair and tragic. Like you want to punch stuff and then cry about it. Like you want to be left alone, but you also desperately want attention. It feels like a fount of new energy is starting to bubble up inside you. Dangerous, uncontrollable energy. Welcome to puberty, Selene. And we gain status hormones. Teenage hormones are making you brave and rebellious. Rebellion increases are tripled. So if we do anything rebellious, then we'll move 3 times as far down the rebellious meter as we normally would. Late Pollen. Hey, Dis. He's skipping stones. Cal. He is planting seeds still. You spot your dad looking longingly towards the forest. "You ever think about what's out there?" He muses. "There could be anything. We don't even know." He sighs and leans on his rake, and I'm stuck here, pushing dirt around. And we have Animals 40 now, so we can help him with the animals. So let's do so. Your dad is helping 2 bristle slugs who've gotten tangled on each other while, well, maybe they were wrestling. Your dad doesn't want to go into the details. He hefts up the larger one, and you carefully pull apart their bristling spikes, being careful not to get jabbed yourself. 10 minutes later, they're back at it again. Your dad shrugs. The heart wants what it wants, I guess. Oh, we can tease you, but we can't talk about the circle live. Yep. Your mom grunts and rubs her eyes. She doesn't get sick like other people do during pollen, but that doesn't mean it's not a pain in the butt, as she puts it. "Ugh, is that you, Selene?" She says. "You should wear a mask." Well, some of these events are events that just fire as I get to them. So they probably wrote it not knowing where we'd be at on the puberty stage, although they could have coded that in when writing the game. I don't know. She's showing off her multiple types of walks. Dang. "Science is the language of all things, even on a planet such as this," Tang says. "As foreign as it seems, all living things act according to their biology." Tang tilts her head. "And as biology is simply applied chemistry, which is simply applied physics, this means anything that is observable and many things that are not are governed by the rules of mathematics, which are as elegant and as constant as when the universe began." I don't know if I'd say that people's acting of biology is based on mathematical constants. Nem is munching on a container of dust melon. Yep, we've read that one. Alright. So we could keep exploring now that our stress is back to get a few more events. Late Pollen. Is that anyone's? No, that is not anyone's birthday. I should still give out gifts, though. Because I've got a ton of them. So... Anemone likes the eggs, I think. Yeah. "Whoa, this egg looks tasty," Nem exclaims. "Wait, I can eat this, right?" Just try and keep building our relationships. Tang. Yeah, we've read that one. Probably should have done these when we were talking to people, so then I'm not getting whole new dialogues. Tang likes the roots. "This is interesting," is all Tang says, taking the roots and turning them over in her hands. Her lips curl in distaste at the dirt that still clings to them. "No, really," she protests when she sees the look on your face. "I'm going to analyze these roots and see if they have any useful properties. They might be medicinal." She turns and walks away, then remembers herself. "Thank you," she adds, almost as an afterthought. Cal. Cal's eyes crinkle when he sees you approach and he pulls off his face mask. "I'm outside all the time," he says, "and I hate it when my chest gets all tight and itchy around this time of year. The mask kinda helps, I think. My mom nanoprints a ton of them to use in the med bay. You should go grab one, with all the running around you do." You, Cal, like the bobber fruit and eggs. Sure, you can have an egg as well. Is that an alien egg? Cal exclaims. Wow, I wonder what's inside it. If it's still warm, maybe we can hatch it. He lifts it up and scrutinizes it. Anemone's always talking about wanting to eat a big ol' alien egg. He says, if this one's not fertilized, I'll give it to her. Then Mars. Mars, yep, she's showing off her dress. I think we read that one already. Yeah. Mars likes the crystal clusters. She holds the crystal up to light and gazes into it. At the right angle, I can see my face in it. Beautiful. And lastly, Dis. Dis is sulking, leaning against the outer wall of the colony with his arms crossed. Mars called me a maladapted degenerate today, he says. Then she told me she's just trying to help. Like everything would be fine if I just acted like everyone else. He scowls. Everyone thinks we're so much better than the people we left back on Earth, but they're just as close-minded and stupid. Alright. Dis likes the roots as well. Wow, Dis is uncharacteristically excited about the roots. They're so colorful, and I've never seen roots like these before. What kind of plant are these from? Alright, so I think I'm gonna keep going. Oh, right. I need to relax before I can keep going with exploration. Well, we will relax in the gardens again and hope that we get the lucky upgrade our pets event. You play with your Bricky, Bright Eyes. Hanging out with them just outside the walls, it's uneventful, which is exactly what you needed. You try and teach them some simple commands, stay, follow, speak. It's adorable, watching them tilt their heads from side to side when they're trying to figure something out. They don't really seem to get it, but you get the impression they're trying. You quickly realize the Bricky must be named after the sound they make when they're happy, a whirring, clicking noise. For a weird spider tentacle creature, it's really cute. We have increased our bond with our Bricky, but not enough to fully level them up. And yeah, I'll keep my 2s and 3s because that seems to be about the best we have. Again, I'd like to get rid of the 0s.